Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Golf Thoughts. On today's episode, we talk about what to think if you bogey the first hole. Pretty simple concept today. You go to your pre-round warm-up, you hit some range balls, you hit some putts, you get out on the first hole, you're feeling good. You feel like today's the day. Today's the day when you play good. I finally am going to shoot my best score. I finally am going to beat this other person that I'm playing against. I'm finally gonna whatever. Like, today's gonna start good and it's gonna end good and it's gonna stay good throughout. But you start off the first hole and you bogey it. Immediately you start thinking, oh, well, I guess today's not the day. Or, oh, I guess it's not gonna happen. I guess it's not meant to be. I mean, a lot of people say that. It's like, well, I thought today was going to be good, but it's not meant to be. And you could substitute this for a double bogey or a triple bogey, depending on your skill level. Or maybe it's a super easy par 4 or a par 5 that you feel like you should birdie, but you start it with a par. You get out there, you bogey the first hole. Your mind starts racing, or you start losing your motivation, you start losing your energy level because you just immediately get down. And I'm here to tell you today of what you should think when you walk off that first green after having made that bogey. Well, first of all, just at the very start of it, what causes these thoughts of slump your shoulders, dang it, today's not going to go good? You're too focused on score. Just like episode 1, you're too focused on score. In order to not have that feeling of slumping your shoulders, woe is me, today's not going to be my day, it's not meant to be, blah, 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 you have to shift your mind away from thinking about score. Thinking about score leads to dwelling on the past. I've made bogey, I'm 1 over, I'm not going to shoot the score I want. You're thinking about future, of total score. The thought of 1 over is thoughts of total score also. And maybe your playing partner had a par and you're thinking, oh, I'm already 1 down to them, or I'm already 1 back. I've already dug myself into a hole. So you need to shift yourself away from thinking about score and more onto the current process that you're on. As I'm recording this, Lee Westwood just finished yesterday the second round of the Players' Championship of 2021, obviously. And in his post-round interview, he said, someone asked him, like, how did you go about this round? How are you able to come back from the previous tournament where he lost in the final round, or he got beat in the final round by Bryson DeChambeau, and how are you able to come back from that and play these 2 rounds really well, and now you're in the lead? He said, I'm so much less interested in my outcome. I'm more interested in my performance. And at the outset, just on the face of it, those two sound so similar, performance and outcome. But in his context, outcome is the bogey. Performance is how he played the hole, how he reacted to things, how he handled things, how he moved on from things. So what I'm telling you to do is to move away from outcome and more into performance, more into process. That's what he said is a big thing he's been working on. He said he's been working with a psychologist for about 3 years now, and they have focused mostly on process and less on outcome. More about how he's doing things rather than what he's getting out of those things. So let's relate it to like working out. If you cared about every single day, how you looked after every single day, and you judged the validity of your work on the outcome of every single day, you would immediately stop working out, because you would pump all this iron, you'd do all these abs, you'd run all those miles, and you'd look in the mirror and you say, I don't look any different. Well, the equivalent of that in golf is making a bogey on the first hole. You have a great pre-round warm-up. You've put in all this effort. You've put in all this work. You've been able to practice more than you normally have. You thought your practice was quality, but you get out on the first hole and you bogey it. Wow, where's all the progress? Where is all the progress? And in order to sustain yourself over the long haul, in order to be able to move on, you have to care so much less about that outcome and more about how you're handling it. Okay, I made a bogey. I made a 5 on a par 4. I made a 6 on a par 5. I made a par on a easy par 5. Whatever it is, that is now just a fact, and it is now ancient history. You write down your stats for that hole, something we'll get into in a future episode about stat taking. You write down your stats for that hole, you let your stats be the memory for you, and now it's ancient history. And now you're moving on. It's always, what is the logical thing to think right now? What is the neutral thing to think right now? So, okay, now I have another tee shot. Like, for one, I've got 17 more holes to go. It baffles me that people would ever say this round is defined by one hole. Even if it was a quadruple bogey, even if you had a 10 on a par 4, you've got 17 more holes. Even if it's on hole 17 and you had a quadruple bogey, you've got one more hole. There's always time ahead. Even if you finished 18 with a quadruple bogey, even if you bogeyed the last hole, you've got more rounds ahead of you. It's just, you've got to put that outcome into ancient history, into uncontrollable. Focus on your process, focus on your performance, focus on the how, not the what, when, where, why, and maybe that was it. Focus on the how, and you will be able to handle those moments so much better. So what do you think after you bogey the first hole? Less on outcome. Outcome is ancient history. Focus on process. Focus on the present moment. Focus on the neutral thoughts. Focus on the logical thing. It'll help you play better. All right. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, share it with someone who hates bogeying the first hole, gets down on themselves, blah, blah, blah. Check out episode 1. I just started this new series called Golf Thoughts. I'm trying to make it my most practical thing yet. I usually get a little bit philosophical or how to move on from things. But it's like, no, how do you think after you bogey the first hole? Well, we've just tackled it. So hopefully lots more of these to come. I've got a lot of ideas of real things. So let's go here. Question of the day. How do you handle bogeying the first hole? All right, let me know in the comments. Tweet me at Josh Luke Nichols your answer. I'll see you there. All right, catch you next time.